Macbeth sat on his throne, waiting patiently for a fight that will change everything. Bodies will roll, and lives will change. Macbeth was, and still is, one of the movies that still sends chills down my spine. It's one, if not the only movie that I've watched where the fight scenes usually require full armor. And when I say it requires full armor, I mean the full armor is required in battle. Well, it restricts movement, but yet the armor was fully used in battle. I don't know how to explain it, but you'll understand when we start analyzing the scenes. But before we start breaking down this prehistoric masterpiece, let me catch you up on why this fight was the peak of this movie. Macbeth had been a loyal warrior, fighting for Scotland with honor, but everything changed when he met the witches. After a victorious battle, 3 strange women appeared before him, speaking in riddles. They called him Thane of Glamis, which he already was. They then called him Thane of Cawdor, something that hadn't happened yet. Finally, they said he would be king. At first, Macbeth dismissed it, but then a royal messenger arrived with shocking news. The king had named him Thane of Cawdor, just as the witches predicted. If that part was true, why not the rest? The thought consumed him. Lady Macbeth saw the opportunity and urged him to act. King Duncan was coming to stay at their castle. It was the perfect chance. At first, Macbeth resisted. Duncan was a good king who trusted him. But his wife's taunts and his growing ambition pushed him forward. That night, he entered Duncan's chamber and stabbed him in his sleep. When the body was discovered, chaos erupted. The king's sons fled, fearing for their lives. Macbeth was crowned. But the ruling did not bring peace. The witches had also said Banquo's descendants, not his, would inherit the throne. That could not happen. Macbeth sent assassins after Banquo and his son Flancé. Banquo was killed, but Flancé escaped. That night at a feast, Macbeth saw Banquo's ghost staring at him from across the table. He raved and shouted at the empty air while his guests watched in horror. His mind was cracking. He rode to the witches again, desperate for answers. This time they gave him 3 warnings. Beware Macduff. No man born of a woman could harm him. And he would not be defeated until Birnam Wood moved to his castle. It seemed absurd. Trees don't move, and every man is born of a woman. He took it as a sign of invincibility. To be safe, he had Macduff's family slaughtered.
He just killed me, Mother.
He believed it would break his enemy's spirit. Instead, it did the opposite. Macduff and Malcolm, the rightful heir, returned with an army. As they approached the castle, the soldiers cut branches from Birnam Wood to disguise their numbers. From a distance, it looked like the forest itself was moving. Inside, Macbeth laughed. He was untouchable. No man born of a woman could kill him. The battle was brutal. Macbeth fought like a demon, cutting down soldiers with ease. Blood soaked the stone floors. Then Macduff arrived. With his castle crumbling and his men dead, Macbeth retreated to his throne room, waiting for the final battle. Let's dive right into why this part of the movie is a cinematic achievement. This scene makes 100% sense. Macbeth was a man who was practically invincible. I know they said no man born of a woman can kill him, but that just translates to me that Macbeth is a man of great abilities. He had great speed and he had great agility. This made him take down his enemies with ease, and on top of that, he was no dullard. He was a master at his craft, and with this gave him great power and a great ego. As you see, he was seated in the throne room, and the most honorable thing to do was to fight his way through the soldiers that have come to confront him. This scene works so well because if Macbeth was injured, we'd have attributed the end of this battle with his injury. Now, the camera work was impeccable. This movie was shot in 1971. The cameras they had were nothing compared to those used in movies of 2020, but still, camera work in this movie is outstanding. The angles are set up to send a direct message to the viewer, and if you noticed, the camera shots were not to have you at the edge of your seat. It was to have you move with the characters in the movie. That feeling you get when car scenes make you feel like you should tilt your head while the driver in the movie moves, it's all camera work. And let's not leave out the choreography of the movie. There's a lot going on, and I will not miss it. The warriors walk in and ask him to identify himself.
What is thy name?
Thou'lt be afraid to hear it.
No, though thou callst thyself a hotter name than any is in hell.
My name's Macbeth.
Macbeth introduces himself, and as you can see, only one man attacks, and even when the man was scared for his life, they didn't let him leave. It shows that it was cowardice that you ran away from a fight, talk less of a fight with the king. Let's talk about one more thing that makes this scene so amazing. It's the fighting style plus the color grading of this scene. I know I've mentioned before that the armor was one of the biggest weapons used in this fight, and I want to analyze something for you. The fight in this movie is, and forever will be, top-notch. No fight in this movie was ever replicated anywhere else. As you can see, except for swords clashing with each other, the next weapon being used in battle is the armor. Macbeth and this warrior clashed weapons over and over. But one thing that stands out is how the armor is either used to block blows or it's used to deal a fatal blow on the enemy. Another thing that blows my mind is how the armor can be used against you in battle. As you can see, the armor doesn't let you move freely. You have no choice but to use it as a shield or a weapon. The fighters use the breastplate mostly and the arm cover to block attacks, and also use it as part of their offensive measures. Sometimes the opponent can use their sword to hit the armor to deal a fatal blow. This is peak choreography. And never in my life have I seen a full fight scene where everything you have is used to make sure you win a fight. Honor is on utmost display. As the fights unravel, you don't see the men abusing him at once. After the first comes and loses, the next person comes up and takes the opponent's space. He's older, and it doesn't require much to take him down. Macbeth is swift and fast. The camera work in this part is swift and does not delay. The angles help you understand just how good Macbeth is. The truth is, the saying that Macbeth cannot be killed by a man born of a woman is one of the most hilarious things about this movie. I just think the truth is Macbeth is really strong and really fast. Maybe he was a man blessed by God, but not being able to be killed by a man born of a woman is far-fetched. But the saying does its job. It drives fear into the heart of men, and everyone who stands in front of him will shiver and quake just at the sight of his presence. This is the fight I've been waiting to break down. This fight has 2 or maybe 3 strong points. The first being the beginning of the fight. Macbeth starts strong and dominates the fight. One thing I've been waiting to talk about is how the sound is portrayed. This movie is so old that you can literally hear it from the way the swords clash. I think the swords here and the armor were made of aluminum. They aren't so strong, but they're light and effective. The sound is sharp and daring, just like the kills in the movie. Sharp and no drama. It's easily done and daily gone. You can visibly see the two of them clashing swords and still using their armor as effectively as it can be between two warriors. At some point, the two of them disarm each other and they start throwing fists. You can also visibly see them throwing themselves at each other. The choreography is top-notch. You don't know what's going to happen next. It keeps you fixated on what's going to happen. You can guess, and at the same time, you can't guess, and it's thrilling. This is the point that always gets to me. After being told that his invincibility was a lie, you can visibly see his charismatic nature broken. He no longer feels like an eagle soaring through the skies, and his fangs are no longer sharp and claws blunt. His attack weakens and his movements dull. This is the part that brings up the fact that the whole sham of only a man who is not born of a woman can kill him. As the whole lie fades away in his face, he looks like a man begging on his knees. You can see the choreography change and the colors brighten here. That shows that the play has changed drastically. The all-invincible man is not being pulled back, and as the scene is about to end, Macduff sees the opportunity to strike through the edge of his armor. And as a sharp-edged fighter, he takes it. The moment is prolonged to show that even the most invincible of people can still lose breath to the sword of an ordinary man. One thing that displays here was that the three witches, in a way, lead him to his death. First, they filled his head with ambition and then told him to be wary of Macduff's family. The best thing that could have been done was to take out Macduff and his entire bloodline, but the hole was left. Macduff himself was alive. After having his family slaughtered, that gave him enough zeal to end the one who slaughtered his family. This end fight shows pure vengeance and the will to revenge. The fight was beautiful, and the scene was easy to read, but the emotions were heavy. After all was done and dusted, Macbeth loses all he had and also loses the throne. The fights were simple, but the message was profound. Macbeth, who was proclaimed to be a man so invincible even an army could not stand him, had finally met an honorable end to the sword of just one man. This has been and will continue to be one of the greatest fights in cinema history. And just the simplicity and the straightforward fights send messages that chills everyone watching. What do you think? Does this scene rank among the best in cinematic displays of swordplay? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you love deep dives into unforgettable film moments, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned. More breakdowns coming soon. This has been Jack, bringing you another cinematic deep dive. Until next time, stay safe and keep your eyes on the road.